Ref app.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
Live from the Buffalo Wild Wings studios, it's time to get locked into the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000 or text the show at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
At long last, I can finally rest and watch the sun rise on a grateful universe.
Okay, Thanos. Well done.
The 2026 recruiting cycle is officially a wrap. Oklahoma got all 24 of their signees on board yesterday, and we can shift our focus toward 2027. Now, I have been told it's not an impossibility, Grayson, that Oklahoma looks for another guy or two that might sign in February. If they can find somebody that's worth the take, they're looking for all means to improve the roster in preparation for the 2026 season. But for all intents and purposes, the 2026 recruiting cycle wrapped up yesterday. And I'll say this, folks, and I want to start with this today. I appreciate each and every one of you that engages on a day-to-day basis with the 24/7, 365 craziness that is the world of football recruiting, and more specifically, OU recruiting. Brandon Drum and I did another OU Insider Signing Day special last night from Coach's Corner on Lindsay Street. It was unbelievable, 3+ hours of nonstop coverage of the 2026 signing class, interviews with over a third of the class, 9 out of the 24, and there were literally thousands of you crazies that tuned in live and even some that came out to Coach's Corner to watch it all unfold. And it is a day like this that I am immensely grateful that we have so many devoted OU football fans out there who all throughout the year are dialed in to all things recruiting. And we do our best to bring you all the notable and timely news and nuggets from the world of recruiting. We all do it together, folks. I mean, it's really the same cycle every single year, and we enjoy being along for the ride with all of you. We endure the portal craziness in the winter and early spring months. We all fight in May and June and July as the commitments start to roll in because half of you are freaking out about how this recruiting class isn't going to be good enough. Then the football season rolls around in September, and everything is sort of stabilized because much of our attention is diverted to the action that's occurring on the field on Saturdays. And then, of course, once the football season wraps up and signing day rolls around, we lock in, or I should say Oklahoma locks in, what is inevitably a solid and occasionally spectacular recruiting class. We break it all down, and then we start the whole cycle again. It truly is so much fun. So thanks to all of you that participate on a daily basis.
Is this your first live show that you've ever done?
No, this was the 4th annual OU Insider Signing Day special. I will say, to see and just to take stock of the show that we were able to put on last night in comparison to the first signing day show we ever did back in December of 2022, I think I did that show. I was on the road. I was in Kansas City for Caden Green and PJ Adibawarez signing. I think I did that show from my grandparents' basement. There was no video elements to speak of. The feed was laggy all night long. We had some great interviews, wrapped it up with Jackson Arnold, of course. Peyton Bowen was at the time committed to Oregon. Mm-hmm. That was the 24-hour window where he was pledged to the Ducks. So everybody was in a pissed-off mood. And so to see and to witness how much better of a show. I mean, there are many words that could fit, but just in every way, how much better of a show it was last night and how much better it's gotten over the last several years as we've continued to do this on an annual basis. It's invigorating. It's a ton of fun.
There's a couple people on the YouTube chat that have pointed out that you're not wearing a tie.
I am not wearing a tie, folks. We're back to hoodie season. No ties today. 405-651-3439 is the text line if you want to chime in. And, folks, the show is brought to you today and every day by the good folks of Dorsey Jones GMC out in El Reno. It is the holiday season, and if the holiday season has you in the market for a new vehicle, either for yourself or for a loved one, check out Dorsey Jones. GMC, of course, offers some of the most reliable trucks and SUVs on the road today, and Dorsey Jones offers reliable and fantastic and affordable service, including their half-price oil changes on Saturdays. We appreciate Dorsey Jones for their partnership here on Locked In. On the text line, a 405 listener says, even though it wasn't bad, is this the lowest-ranked class under Venables? No, the lowest-ranked class was last year's class, the 2025 recruiting class for Oklahoma, in which the Sooners only signed 18 players. So the ranking was more so the modest rank. I think Oklahoma finished with the number 18 class in the nation last year, and that was largely due to quantity more than quality. It was a good class. It was just a small class. And so, as we discussed yesterday in a very comprehensive and thorough breakdown of Oklahoma's 26 group, Grayson, according to the recruiting rankings, Oklahoma has somewhere in between the number 14 and number 16 class nationally. But when you really evaluate these guys individually and you take a look at the tape for each of these 24 signees, it's clear that Oklahoma has some excellent and undervalued additions in this group and guys that you would expect to outperform their ranking once they get on a college football field.
Yeah, no doubt. And to me, this staff put this class together in a very interesting way under Jim Nagy because they made it very apparent that, hey, we're not going to listen to the rankings. We're just going to do what we think is in the best interest of our football team and the construction of the football team. So, yes, some of the players are going to be undervalued nationally by some of these services, and they could pop. They really could. I mean, especially, I talked about this yesterday. You look at a kid like a Jacob Curry, right, where some of the tape is cool, but you leave yourself wondering, okay, where is he going to play? And I find those sorts of players intriguing because of the way that Brent Venables' defense deploys guys who can play certain positions. So I'm looking at a guy like him. Sure, Ohio State came in on him late in the process, but this was a guy that for the longest time was committed to Northwestern, right, before he backed off of that pledge. So types of guys like those, with how erratic the scheme and erratic the play calling is, especially on defense with this staff, those are the guys I watch and I say, okay, what's going to happen here with a player and a prospect like him?
It's hard to say, man. And that's where I think part of the reason why you're never all that concerned about recruiting rankings if you trust the people in the building at the University of Oklahoma is because it's not just about signing the talent, it's about developing the talent as well, right? And so if you trust that these OU coaches, especially on the defensive staff with how much continuity there has been in this regard over the last 4 years, ever since the beginning of the Brent Venables era, if you believe that these assistant coaches are going to get the most out of the players that they sign, I don't think in your mind there's really all that much of a difference between Oklahoma signing, say, the number 15 class and Oklahoma signing the number 7 or 8 class, right? By the way, it truly is never good enough for some people because yesterday Ohio State inked the number 7 class in the nation, and I saw some of their fans on Twitter saying, this is unacceptable coming off a national championship.
You know, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and college football, dog, I've learned this in my year plus at this station. Trying to inject too much logic into college football talk is a losing proposition, man, with some people.
Fan is short for fanatic.
And college football epitomizes that the most of any sport.
Kyle from Salis on the text line says, watched all 3 hours of the signing day special last night and told my wife to take a hike for the night. Great coverage, Parker and Drum. Thank you, Kyle. How did your wife take that? How was that received? I am quite curious. Yes, but hey, what I want to do today is really just open the floor for y'all to ask any questions you may have about anything that unfolded throughout the 2026 recruiting cycle. Now that we can close the book on it, now that all of Oklahoma's 24 signees have signed the dotted line, have faxed in their paperwork, they're going to be on campus in either January or June in some cases to start their careers as Sooners. Any questions that you guys may have about anything that unfolded over the course of the recruiting cycle that you have not had answered yet, please feel free to fire them at us at 405-651-3439. I can't promise that I will be able to answer all of them in as explicit terminology as you might like, but I promise I will do my very best to answer any questions that you might raise and answer them to the best of my ability.
Let's start with 3-star Glenn from Nashville. Hey, fellas, really liked our class. I would have liked to have seen at least one more offensive lineman and maybe 2 more defensive linemen, tackles not D-end. Are there any defensive tackles remaining to be signed that we could focus on for the next signing period?
Oklahoma's keeping an eye out for trench bodies in particular, as I mentioned right at the top of the show. There is the possibility that if they find a guy that's still out there on the open market that they feel is good enough and he is available until the February signing window, they could very well make a push. Now, what's the likelihood of that? I would say not super high, just because at this point you really are dealing with a lot of leftovers. There are virtually no premium players left on the board that are waiting to sign until February. All the premium players have already put pen to paper for their institutions for the most part.
Well, you mentioned that, and we got a question about Deuce Gerald's on the YouTube chat, who did not sign yesterday, by the way.
He did not sign, but I think he's supposed to sign either today or tomorrow because the early signing period runs till Friday.
Correct.
So he's still committed to LSU.
Yes.
And there are several others. I think they were saying Georgia Tech is a school that's making a serious push for Deuce Gerald's. But I also don't know that that's necessarily a Jim Nagy type of guy. Because Deuce Gerald's is an undersized defensive tackle. He's a really good player, don't get me wrong, but he's undersized.
Yeah.
So just judging off what Jim Nagy has brought in thus far and the types of guys, the types of bodies that he has prioritized since he in the front office got to town, I don't get the sense that there's going to be much of a rekindling there with Deuce Gerald's, especially with such little time to make something happen before he signs, provided he does sign here in the early signing period. Somebody had asked about why it took so long for Jaden Petit to fax in his paperwork yesterday. You're going to love this answer because it's going to get you even more excited about Jaden Petit and the player that he has the potential to be at the University of Oklahoma. His paperwork took so long because he is not yet 18 years old. And so not only did he have to sign all the paperwork, his parents had to sign all the paperwork as well.
Huh.
Now, there was a wild saga that unfolded yesterday down in the Lone Star State with regard to Legend Bay, a name that I know you're familiar with, where allegedly, based on some very reliable reporting from people in the industry who know what they're talking about, apparently he was all set to sign with Ohio State.
Correct.
But he's not 18 yet, and his mother basically said, I don't want you at Ohio State. If you want to go to Ohio State, it's not happening today because I'm not signing the paperwork. I'll sign if you want to go to Tennessee, but not Ohio State. And so Legend Bay signed the paperwork for Tennessee.
You know, I get parenting your kids, man. I get looking out for your kids. But at some point, there's a such thing as doing too much. I feel like if the kid wants to go to Ohio State, you might want to let him go to Ohio State.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I'm not gonna give anybody parenting advice. I myself am not a parent yet.
I'm the last person you want to.
Yeah, but yeah, that's obviously that has been quite controversial.
So Tennessee signed Legend Bay and Tristan Keys. Mm-hmm. Oh, this one's gonna be fun. Mm-hmm. There you go. That's gonna be an interesting time in Knoxville.
Man. If you're Oklahoma, Legend Bay is one of those guys you're not looking forward to playing next few years.
He's
in the
good.
ACC.
But you're talking about 2 dramatic recruitments, too.
There's always drama, man. There's always drama every single year in the early signing period. Just hope that you're not involved with it, and that if you are, it goes in your favor, as it did with the Peyton Bowen debacle a couple years back for Oklahoma in December of 2022. Kyle from Salisaw, regarding his wife, said she actually didn't take a hike. She sat through it and learned about the new additions and actually enjoyed it. She's coming along to the good side. She used to be a Polk fan. Look at that, Kyle from Salisaw.
How did you convert her all the way from a Polk fan to a Sooner fan? I'm curious.
Same way we're converting you.
Okay, no.
Kyle, bringing her from darkness to light. Well done.
Sooner Fish asks, are we involved with Chris Henry?
Chris Henry, oh my gosh.
Because he still hasn't signed with Ohio State.
The expectation right now is that he's going to sign with Oregon, but it was reported yesterday that Texas was just shamelessly trying to bag him at the 11th hour. Like Pete Nakos of On3 came out and said, yeah, Texas has made an enormous NIL offer to Chris Henry. He'd never visited Austin. I don't know that Texas was ever seriously involved in his recruitment, but when they found out that Brian Hartline wasn't going to stick around at Ohio State and instead was going to be the next head coach at USF, I guess Texas decided, let's offer him a bunch of money and see if he wants to sign here.
I mean, shoot, I can't blame them
no,
either.
you can't, but
I mean,
that's just...
The best wide receiver coach in college football leaves. May as well see what kind of ground you can make up.
The Waffler wants to know, hey, Parker, where did Booby Feaster sign? He did sign with
USC.
Yep, there was
somehow kept that class together.
There was a lot of late smoke for Texas A&M there in Feaster's recruitment, but nope, he signed with USC.
A texter in the 918 says, I'm amazed at how well they did on a promise of better days after a 6-7 season.
No doubt,
It's a fair point.
No doubt, man. And they were fortunate to have a bunch of guys that bought low on Oklahoma, so to speak. Guys like Bo Bentley and Deacon Schmidt and Daniel Odom, right, who committed all the way back in January. DeZeph Walker was a guy that bought low on Oklahoma. The original defensive commit was Nico Jandro, who obviously at that point started heavily recruiting his twin brother, and he wasn't far behind him. Derek Johnson took one visit to Oklahoma, a Washington legacy. He had an offer from Washington. The full expectation was he was going to go play his college football up in Seattle. But he took one visit to Oklahoma in early June and immediately saw the vision, and he committed. And Oklahoma, when you look back at it, they had barely half their class committed before the 2024 season, or before the 2025 season, rolled around. So there was a lot of work that was done throughout the fall once the results started to manifest on the field. But the Sooners did do a very admirable job in making sure that they had several blue-chip guys that drank the Kool-Aid during OV season on the heels of 6-7 before the turnaround. And those guys, we talked to a bunch of them over the course of the last few days leading up to and on signing day. And, man, they feel extremely vindicated and validated for the decision that they made now, as they very well should.
Hey, sometimes you take a gamble and it works out, and certainly that seems to be the case. A couple more. There's quite a few other members of the Ref Army that are married to Oklahoma State fans as well.
Hey, that's the risk you run. It's the risk you run when you're dealing with the dating pool in the state of Oklahoma. Got a lot of Sooners, but you'll have some Pokes mixed in.
A texter in the 402 from the state of Nebraska asks, why would Odom choose Nebraska over us and others? They are trash.
That's in reference to Danny Odom, not to be confused with Daniel Odom, Oklahoma wide receiver signing. Danny Odom was a borderline 5-star cornerback in the 26 cycle who silent committed to Oklahoma at the beginning of June, wound up going public for Nebraska. Why would he choose Nebraska over OU? I mean, there are reasons, and yes, Nebraska they're not in a great place right now as a football program. They're not in a bad place, not as bad as they have been in the past, but they're not in a great place. One thing you can say about Nebraska football, though, man, they have the most loyal fan base in the nation. I don't think that's even a dispute to be had. Phenomenal facilities, like legitimately perhaps the best facilities in the nation, up there in the top 3.
Really?
No question. Yes, their facilities are unbelievable. And, if you got a strong enough relationship with the coaches, the NIL's there, man, I won't claim to know all of the reasons why Danny Odom made a decision, but it's not as if he committed to Nevada, over Oklahoma. Like, it's easier to understand why he would roll with a school like Nebraska, even if they're not winning to the level that Oklahoma's winning right now. Okay, folks, we got to hit a quick break here from some of our fine sponsors that make it possible. We will continue to hit many of your texts as we put a bow on the 2026 recruiting cycle. Coming up next, this is The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Locked In is brought to you every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones GMC is family-owned and operated with a knowledgeable, low-pressure sales staff here to help you through the buying process and half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Visit dorsey-jonesgmc.com for more information.
Where do Oklahoma sports fans go to watch the big game? Gridiron Sports Bar at River Spirit Casino Resort in Tulsa. With multiple viewing screens and a huge LED wall, you'll never miss a play. Enjoy bar-top gaming, Top Golf swing suites, delicious game day food and drinks, and a VIP lounge for top-tier players. Gridiron Sports Bar takes sports fans to another viewing level. Gridiron Sports Bar, Tulsa's fan favorite.
What are you doing out there?
Come on!
I saw you at the game the other night. Yeah, you. Up there getting mad, acting like we're all out there making $1 million a game. Well, let me be real with you. This isn't the pros. It's school sports, and it's a game, our game. So please, let us play.
School sports fans, remember, when you cheer for your team, make noise for the right reasons. This message presented by the NFHS and the NIAAA.
And all student athletes in Oklahoma.
Speed can't be taught. You got it or you don't. Rose Hill Builders has it. Their game plan is efficient, and they do not cut corners for quality. Trust old coach here. Call Rose Hill Builders to get your approval process started today. Rose Hill Builders, the team you want on your side.
For the professional, it's not enough to just possess knowledge. That's why at GMC, we seek to refine it, to wield its power, to redefine its boundaries, while pushing the limits. And we put this knowledge to the test in every GMC Sierra by engineering each one to outperform your expectations. So you know you're getting precision and durability when you need it most. And that's what makes the GMC Sierra the truck worth knowing. We are professional grade. See your Oklahoma GMC dealers.
Do you like to stand out in a crowd while wearing the best in OU apparel? The Jimmy Austin Pro Shop carries the best brands you can wear to work or even dress up events. Lines such as Lululemon, Travis Mathew, FootJoy, Greg Norman, Grayson, or Turtleson with the OU and Jimmy Austin logo are sure to catch everyone's eye. You don't have to be a golfer to shop at Jimmy Austin. They also do corporate special orders for you and your company. Call them today, 405-325-6716, or visit theougolfclub.com for more information.
Hey, it's Dari Noka for Totally Tickets. Hey, Ref Army, you looking for the best place to buy tickets to your next OU game, Thunder game, or the best concerts? My friend Mike, call him Fletch, and Totally Tickets has you covered. Visit TotallyTickets.com to find your event today. Oh, and good news, Ref Army, just type in the promo code KREF and get up to 10% off your purchase. Go to TotallyTickets.com now. They are the best.
I'm Oklahoma Sooner quarterback John Mateer. My job is to move the ball down the field and get the Sooners across the goal line. If you've been injured in an auto accident, you need a pro to be the quarterback of your medical care needs. Dr. Martin Lopez and the OKC Car Crash Clinic are your premier teammates to help you on your road to recovery. Dr. Lopez is a specialty-trained MD with decades of experience. Make your best play call and contact Dr. Lopez at 405-86-CRASH. That's 405-862-7274 or visit OKCCrash.com.
You've changed thousands of diapers, cut off hundreds of crusts, played hours of peekaboo and duck, duck, goose, because you do anything for your kids. That's why it's so important to protect them with life insurance from State Farm. State Farm agent Scott Tabaris will help make it easy and affordable to help you protect your family no matter what the future holds. Because for the people you do anything for, life insurance could mean everything. Call State Farm agent Scott Tabaris, 405-794-0020 today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Speed can't be taught. You got it or you don't. Rose Hill Builders has it. Their game plan is efficient, and they do not cut corners for quality. Trust old coach here. Call Rose Hill Builders to get your approval process started today. Rose Hill Builders, the team you want on your side.
So I mentioned the Legend Bay fiasco last segment. Apparently we have an update to the situation, Grayson. This might be the closest thing to a recruiting hostage situation I've ever seen in my life. This is nuts.
Okay.
Apparently he tweeted about an hour ago, and this tweet was swiftly wiped from his account. But this tweet reads, "Good afternoon. I was just recently logged out of my IG and probably will be logged out of this account as well by my older brother who has access to my account because I won't sign to the school him and my mother want. Signed, Legend Bay."
Okay,
brother.
Back up.
Yeah. So basically what this kid is saying is I'm being held hostage.
Yeah, duh.
And I'm not even running my own social media accounts.
Yeah, first of all, like, me and my brother have a good relationship. There's no way on God's green earth he is logged into my social media accounts.
I tell you, man, it truly is crazy, and I don't want to cast too broad of a net here, paint with too broad of a brush, but it really is crazy how so many of these outstanding young student athletes are getting their strings pulled like that by people in their camp, whether related to them or not. It's crazy how some of these people manage to burrow their way into some sort of position of influence, and like a crazy amount of influence, as you see in that tweet from Legend Bay, to the point where he's not even managing his own social media presence.
Yeah. I mean, no, this is a problem. And down the line, look, Legend Bay will play college football at some point, and he's going to make a lot of money doing so. At what point do you have to tell these people, hey, look, you got to stop, or I'm going to have to, like, do some form of cutting you off?
Well, honestly, if I'm the Tennessee staff, I'd be nullifying that paperwork right now because, like, and no disrespect to the kid if I'm on the Tennessee staff, but I don't want him here if he doesn't want to be here.
And that's what I'm thinking. And that's what I'm thinking is that at some point you're going to have to either get these people in check or cut them off because it's going to affect your relationships with your potential coaching staff.
Also, the crazy cliffhanger there is at the end where it says, "I won't sign to the school him and my mother want." That makes it seem like he didn't sign the paperwork, but the paperwork got filed yesterday. Tennessee announced him as a signee. So I don't know how acrimonious this whole situation is, but wild stuff evidently going on down in Forney, Texas over the whole Legend Bay situation.
Do you know when his birthday is? When does he turn 18?
In like 3 weeks.
So the early signing period is over, but honestly, that's not that huge of a deal. Does he just wait this thing out? And like, I know that time moves on, and 3 weeks is a really long time in college football. I understand that. But is it short enough time that you just wait this thing out and do your own thing? And I don't know what the family dynamic is. I am speaking off the dome as an outside observer, trying to find solutions for the kid.
Man, I hate it for him.
Yeah, no, that's
shoot. It's his talent, it's his life, it's his career, it's his path, and to have people. And look, I have no doubt those people would allege that it's because they love him and want the best for him. And maybe that's true, and they're just blinded by the emotion of the situation. But, man, that kid should be able to do what he wants. I think most everyone can agree on that. Like, a kid like that should be able to do what he wants.
And Kevin on the text line, on the YouTube chat, that's exactly what BV meant when he said, you recruit your problems.
Amen. Amen. On a completely different note, it's Festivus season, and I have a grievance to air. Maybe this is the old man in me. Maybe this is the byproduct of working for 4+ years with Steely every day.
Okay, let's hear it.
Like we have got to stop with forcing numbers into words for recruiting class hashtags. This is one of the most annoying trends in college football. Because, and I will use OU as an example. This is not the worst of it. This is not the worst of it. And I don't want to construe it as such. Everybody's just kind of gotten swept up into this trend. But for instance, OU's recruiting class hashtag for the 26 cycle is legendary, but there's a 2-6 that replaces the E and G in legendary. This just doesn't make sense. A 2 does not look like an E. A 6 only vaguely looks like a G. It bothers me, man. It's like when everybody tried to force the initial plus number nicknames after we got CP3.
Okay, fair.
Like, for instance, TB12 in reference to Tom Brady. Like, TB12 does not roll off the tongue. It's not catchy. It's annoying is what it is. CP3 is cool. We don't have to start referring to every athlete as initials plus number. That whole trend became infuriating, and thankfully it's died down in recent years. Hopefully we get to that same point soon with these recruiting class hashtags.
Okay, the initial plus number has bothered me for years because they do this in basketball culture all the time, and I 100% agree with you. I am not nearly as bothered by forcing the numbers into, especially when we're talking about a graduating or a recruiting class. It makes sense. It's the spirit of what you're trying to convey that matters, because you'll always be a member of the class of 2026. And they're going to try to, and they found a word, and they're going to throw it in there. I am not, in our social media-driven world, in our branding-driven world, I'm not as bothered by that as much as you are.
Crimson Rain says, Parker is on a nerd rant, not an old man rant. I feel like this is the opposite of a nerd rant, Crimson Rain, but perhaps. Sooner Bump says PT1. No, stop it. Stop it, Sooner Bump.
What number did you wear when you were playing baseball?
22.
PT22.
No one called me PT22.
Yeah, no, that don't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And in 90% of cases, it doesn't work. CP3 was good. RG3 was good. All the rest suck. Actually, AK-47. Remember Andre Kirilenko?
Andre Kirilenko,
yeah,
yes.
Come on. That was a good one. Like, it has to be good. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, don't force it. Back to the text line, 405-651-3439. A 405 listener asked, Parker, of this class, who has the best chance to make an impact next year? What would your answer to that be, Grayson?
Say it one more time because I was reading other texts.
Of this class,
yeah,
who has the best chance to make an impact next year?
Jaden Petit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, that's probably my first answer as well. If we want, who would you pick on the defensive side? If you had to pick a defensive guy, who would you go with?
I think Jake Krell is the low-hanging fruit here, but I don't think him because he is still a little bit undersized. What if there's a world where Derek Johnson contributes day one?
Yep. I think that's a very real possibility. I'm a big Derek Johnson guy. I will say, though, Jim Nagy yesterday at his press conference did say they expect Jake Krell to be a rotational guy in year one.
Okay.
That was the only guy he talked up such expectations for.
That's fair. And I don't know if there's anybody else in the defensive class that you can say that about. I think those two are two of the only candidates, really, would be Krell and Derek Johnson. I mean, because with Derek Johnson, basically what you're saying is, hey, Jay Valai, we know you pulled this off with Cortland Guillory. Derek Johnson has a lot of the same measurables, and he might be taller than Guillory, too. Do you think you can pull it off again? And my answer would quite frankly be, perhaps.
We'll see. Them Cali boys are kind of soft. But no, I think Derek Johnson will see snaps as a freshman. I don't know how many. I think a lot of it depends on the health of that room. Because, for instance, if Jeremiah Newcomb was healthy right now, make no mistake, he would be playing a lot of snaps for Oklahoma at cornerback. But he tore his labrum early in September. Mm-hmm. He's been out for the season, and that has created more opportunities for Jacoby Johnson and Davon Jordan, and both of those guys have had their moments, no doubt. So what does a fully healthy Oklahoma cornerback room look like, and where does Derek Johnson fall in that pecking order? I think that also depends on what Oklahoma does in the portal at corner, because I do expect them to add a corner in the portal.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of it, we'll have a much clearer picture of all of that once the dust settles on the portal acquisitions. And that will no doubt give us a sense of what the coaching staff and front office's level of confidence is in some of these freshmen to come in and make an immediate impact. But, yeah, Derek Johnson, to me, definite potential year one guy. I think the same is true of Jake Krell. I think the same is true of Daniel Norman. And we'll see about Brian Harris, man. I think there's a world where you see a little bit of Brian Harris in there at defensive tackle, even as a true freshman as well. I'm a big Brian Harris guy.
Yeah, I think he's going to be good too. It's hard to be a true freshman contributor in the SEC at defensive tackle. That's hard to do. Not impossible, but hard to do.
It is hard. And to that point, Oklahoma had a couple of true freshmen last year that contributed in a very significant capacity. Obviously, Jaden Jackson and David Stone. But this year, they had a former top 100 recruit who's going to be really good in Trent Wilson. Let's not get it twisted. But he hasn't seen the field other than in garbage time for Oklahoma. So maybe there is a little bit clearer of a path for Brian Harris with the knowledge that Dominic Williams and Grayson Halton are aging out of the system.
Sure.
But, yeah, it's still going to be difficult for him to carve out a truly substantial role.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Jaden Jackson and, David Stone. And then Marcus Strong. You left him out, too.
Yeah.
Marcus Strong has come on pretty nicely.
He has
at the end of the season.
We've answered this question a couple times throughout the week, but I understand not everybody listens every day. There's a listener down in Texas that wanted to know, what's wrong with Bo Bentley's arm? BV said he was in a sling. He was in a sling. However, I can confirm that as of yesterday, he is out of the sling and throwing again. Last Friday, he suffered a sprain of the AC joint in his throwing shoulder. He started PT, he said, early Saturday morning, so he was on the recovery process pretty quickly, got out of the sling and started throwing again yesterday. The expectation is that he's going to play this Friday for Salina as they I believe it's Alvarado that they play in the state semifinals for a chance to match up with whoever it may be on the other side of the bracket for their second straight state championship. And if Bo can win 2 more games and bring home a second straight state championship, he will finish his high school career undefeated as a starter.
A listener in the state of Arkansas says, I'm curious about Wimberly and his status to be a rotational player next season. I know he was injured this year.
Yes, he was injured. That was a shoulder issue, and it was probably not something that was a surefire season ender, but I think with the depth that Oklahoma had in the safety room and the time at the juncture on the calendar at which Wimberly was injured, I want to say that was June or so that he got hurt. They pretty much just decided, hey, you're gonna pack it in, take a red shirt, don't worry about trying to get back. We'll lean on these other guys. I do know internally the opinions of Marcus Wimberly are moderately high. Like they think he's going to play. They think he's going to contribute. How much will he contribute in 26? Again, kind of depends on what kind of depth you return there. But make no mistake, Wimberly is not the type of guy that they consider to just be depth chart fodder. They think he's going to start to crack that rotation a little bit next year.
Cam, one more before we go to break. The 2 twins from Arizona look like grown men. Yes, they do. Any interest by OU in the big tight end from OSU that's hitting the transfer portal, that being Josh Ford?
Yeah, they hosted Josh Ford on a visit last month, or maybe it was the end of October. But in the last few weeks, they hosted Josh Ford on a visit. I have heard that Alabama is the school best position to land him.
Yes.
So we'll see if expectations change there, but I think he just recently narrowed it down to 5 schools, and I've been led to believe the Crimson Tide have the inside track there. So we shall see. 405-651-3439. All right, folks, one more segment of Locked In coming up, one more segment for you to get your texts in, get your questions answered, get your voice heard via the text line, 651-3439. Come on back with us for the final segment of our Thursday show. Keep it here on The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. We'll be right back.
This is the Ref Sports Radio Network.
Are you, your family, or company looking for a locally owned and trusted management group? Carlsbad Management Group is an owner, developer, and manager of high-quality apartment communities in Oklahoma. They are a locally owned and operated management company for apartments and self-storage units. They are committed to providing exceptional apartment homes, customer service, and increasing the value of multi-family communities under our management. If you would like a free management quote today, call Carlsbad Management at 405-701-1411 and be part of the Carlsbad family.
Wrap up your year with good times and great rewards. Because Riverwind is OKC's best casino.
Feel the thunder when you play your best hand yet. Catch your favorite entertainment at the Showplace Theater.
And enjoy the gift that keeps on giving when you use your wild card.
Every September, join us for your share of our $80,000 Winter Wishes giveaway.
Make your season brighter at your favorite place to play.
And happy holidays from Riverwind Casino.
Life is yours to spend. Spend it making more money. Spend it making more memories. Spend it learning a new skill. Spend it teaching an old trick. Spend it career climbing. Spend it mountain climbing. First United Bank. Spend life wisely.
Fowler Automotive is proud to be a part of your community, where our passion and values lie far beyond the showroom. We believe that families, sports, art, and culture are at the heart of every thriving community, and it's important to us that we help build the communities that our dealerships call home. Stop by any of our 6 Oklahoma dealerships to see the Fowler Standard hard at work. We pride ourselves on being friendly, helpful, honest, and fair. This is what drives us every day. Fowler Automotive, a proud partner of OU Athletics.
Gudgel Aesthetics provides aesthetic and clinical services to the Norman, Moore, and OKC Metro customers. The entire team at Gudgel Aesthetics consists of licensed medical professionals that provide personalized and compassionate care to each client, ensuring they receive the best quality care and your desired results. They also offer skin and body contouring membership plans that provide savings and incentives. Call Gudgel Aesthetics in Norman at 405-306-5800 or visit us at normanmedspa.com.
Hi, this is Nettie from The Local, Norman's newest restaurant, and we invite you to come check it out. The Local features delicious Okie cuisine like the famous local salad, mouth-watering bone-in pork chops, or the Okie burger, plus fantastic drink specials throughout the week. You can also enjoy brunch on Sundays starting at 10 a.m. Happy hour all day on college football Saturdays, you can't beat that. We have 3 locations in the metro: Yukon, Mustang, and the newest one in Norman at 110 West Main Street. Or visit thelocalrestaurant.com.
Hey, Ref Army, it's your favorite regional radio star, Mike Steele. If I know one thing, it's taking a metaphorical pie to your face for a bad sports take. If you want to see the guys from the Rush, Teddy and Tyler, get a literal pie in the face, then boy, do I have good news for you. The Ref is teaming up with the United Way of Norman for their Pie in the Face fundraiser, and we're putting the Butkus beer directly in the line of fire. But you can only see Teddy and Tyler take one for the team with that pie if they raise the most money. Just go to unitedwaynorman.org, click on the Pie in the Face button, and donate to vote for the Rush to get pie right there in their face. The United Way of Norman is an organization who we at the Ref have had a long-standing relationship with and would love to have the Ref Army help them out this holiday season. Just go to unitedway.org and you'll see the Rush covered in meringue in no time.
I mean, this Legend Bay thing is certifiably insane. This might actually go beyond the Peyton Bowen saga in terms of just the level of craziness here.
There's more?
Yeah, well, per my colleague Sam Spiegelman at Rivals, and I quote, sources close to the situation have cast doubt about whether it was Bay or someone else who signed the paperwork that was ultimately sent to Tennessee.
And that was the unspoken part when we talked about this
so
last
there you
segment.
go. Confirmation of what you might have suspected if you read that tweet from Legend Bay.
I genuinely hope this does not adversely affect the kid.
I mean, I would venture to say it probably already had. Like, regardless of the outcome
probably.
here, that relationship between him and his family members is going to be strained, potentially for quite a long time. It's tough, man. 651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line if you want to make your voice heard before we wrap it up here on the show. Puerto Rican Sooner says, get ready to learn jail time because that's a no-no. Yeah, There, and look, I'm no lawyer, but it would seem that there would be some legal repercussions there if that was indeed the case. By the way, who is Penn State hiring? Who is going to be the next head football coach at Penn State?
Why the hell are you asking me that?
It's kind of the point, man. Like, no one knows.
Did you see that stat yesterday that Penn State's coaching search has made other coaches around the country in excess of $300 million?
Has it really?
Because everybody's getting extended, so they won't take the Penn State job.
That's right. Because what? Rule, Signetti,
yes.
Jeff Brom, who else?
Kalani Sitake.
Kalani
recently.
Sitake, of course. How could I forget? Boy. So basically, Pat Kraft.
I'm guessing UCLA paid up to coax Bob Chesney not to take the job.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Although apparently, and Penn State should have hired Chesney. I will stand by that. That is the hire that would have made the most sense. I think that's the direction they should have gone. Apparently, they just weren't super interested in hiring Chesney. I mean, who knows? Maybe he flames out at UCLA, and it turns out Pat Kraft was right all along, and that's why he gets paid a whole heck of a lot more money to do this stuff than I do to talk about it. But the Waffler said, there is always Brian Kelly or Mike Gundy, and that's about where we're at.
And you tweeted that out yesterday, that there are a couple swings and misses away from hiring Brian Kelly, and you're not wrong.
He's from that area, isn't he? Didn't he go to UNA? Or no, am I thinking of Chip Kelly? Am I thinking of Chip Kelly? Is that Brian Kelly or Chip Kelly that has a history at the University of New Hampshire? Those wires are crossed in my mind.
Brian Kelly was born in Everett, Massachusetts.
Oh, okay, there you go. Okay, so I wasn't far off. Maybe it's both of them that have ties to the Northeast.
Oh, remember this. Drinkwitz got extended, too.
Oh, that's true.
As part of this nonsense.
Boy. And Sooner HVAC points out, isn't Jim Knowles at Penn State? Yes, he is.
Jim Knowles does not want to be a head coach. I have had that relayed to me multiple times.
Folks, with the benefit of hindsight, you would not have said this in January of 2025, but I feel as though everyone would unanimously agree in December of 2025. Oklahoma is very fortunate that Jim Knowles chose Penn State. Because what that opened the door for is what you have. The reality of the situation in Norman, Oklahoma. Brent Venables calling his own defense, which has proven, Grayson, in my opinion, to be the best decision that he has made as a head football coach, even if it was prompted by Oklahoma's swing and a miss at Jim Knowles.
Yeah? I mean, I can't think of a better decision. We'll see if Arbuckle turns out to be a better decision.
Glenn from Nashville says, regarding Bay, if fax lines were used for that letter of intent, I believe you are looking at mail fraud, which is a federal offense and could get ugly.
Can we talk about why they're still faxing in things?
That's literally
in 2026?
I'm fairly certain fax machines only exist for National Signing Day anymore. Please tell me, folks, I know we have many listeners that work in many different professional realms, in many different walks of life. Do any of you still use a fax machine?
I have never used a fax machine in my life.
Nor have I. The only time I ever even hear of a fax machine being used is when national letters of intent are being faxed in.
Or when somebody has committed some high-level federal white-collar crime.
Yes, apparently. The only reason you would use a fax machine is, A, to commit crime, or B, to officially sign your letter of intent.
I genuinely think that's the only time we ever hear of a fax machine.
Puerto Rican Sooner says, because a bunch of people don't know how to turn a picture into a PDF. Carter from Shakota wants to know, Parker, what is your chess elo and what is your favorite opening as white? That's somebody that was watching the signing day special last night.
Yeah, I did not get that reference.
We got around to talking chess with Brian Harris and Jake Krell.
Did you really?
Yeah. Carter, I play almost exclusively 10-minute rapid games. My elo is just north of 1,600, and I almost exclusively play the Italian game as white. So there you go. You ever want to play sometime, let me know.
I have no idea what the hell you just said.
You know what? That's okay. That's okay. Outlaw Devil says Clark Lee got to raise an extension as well. I don't think Clark Lee was ever leaving Vanderbilt. I think that was more of just Vanderbilt rewarding him for the greatest season in program history, more so than they were worried about him taking another job. He's a Vanderbilt alumnus. He's probably going to be their head coach for many, many years ahead, which that is as ideal of a situation as you could have if you're at an institution like Vanderbilt, which has historically been mediocre and or in the cellar. Like mediocre at best, in the cellar at worst in the sport of football. You have somebody in Clark Lee that's in it for the long haul. You have stability. You can start to cultivate a tradition of excellence. Well, the program's probably going to be able to soar to new heights. It's just a matter of how long you can sustain that. Diego Pavia, man, if there's one guy that has changed the program in the current college football climate more so than anybody else, it's Diego Pavia. I think what Fernando Mendoza is doing at Indiana is very impressive, but that's more on the back of Curt Cignetti and his staff. Diego Pavia has changed Vanderbilt football permanently.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he might win the Heisman. Somebody's asking what your ACT score
I never
was.
took the ACT.
Really?
Never took it.
Interesting.
Jim
in Arlington says, Legend Bay sounds like a resort out on the coast. Facts.
It's true, isn't it? You guys got any questions about Oklahoma's recruiting class? We've kind of been all over the place in the last couple of segments, and we have texts flying in from every direction about everything but OU's 2026 signing class. But, man, I will say when you look at this group and the guys that are going to have the opportunity to contribute right off the bat, I think more so than in years past, what I sense, Grayson, is just kind of the perfect intermingling of guys that offer early impact upside and guys that are very clearly 2 or 3 year stashes.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you got to have. You have to have that balance. You have to have roster sustainability. And if you can get to a point where you don't have to worry a whole heck of a lot about the retention aspect of things because you have dudes like Matthew Nelson sitting there on the back end of the depth chart for now that are getting better and better, working their way towards being rotational pieces or starters, but they're also 100% dialed in with everything that OU is as a program. They're here for the right reasons, and they're staying locked in for the right reasons. Then that's where you have the chance to do something really special and build something really special as a program. What Oklahoma has done here in 2025 is very impressive, but what every single Sooner fan no doubt hopes is that this is just the tip of the iceberg for sustainable success in the years ahead.
Yeah, 100%, and that's how you have to do it. And there was another text on the text line, and I want to pitch this to you.
Okay.
If there's going to be, and I can't remember who sent it in, so you have to forgive me. If there's going to be a difference maker in this class, it will be who?
A difference maker?
A big-time, like a big-time difference maker.
Like we're talking like a national award winner type of football player.
And okay, and I know we've said Jaden Petit with these sorts of questions. Is there another one in your mind?
Go back to Daniel Norman, man. I would say Daniel Norman and or Jonathan Hatton. Those two guys, in addition to Petit, I could see legitimately being in national award conversations one day. And there are other guys, you know, if the stars align just so, they're talented enough to be able to be in those conversations as well. Certainly Bo Bentley, Jasir Rogers as well. I think, like, if things really, really hit with Xavier Okafaleze and we see a lot of technical improvement there over his first couple years on campus, man, he has the athletic upside to be in those conversations too. If we're talking sheer ceiling, and that's maybe what I'm most impressed with about this group is the fact that there are so many guys whose ceilings are astronomically high, and
sure,
you have to hit those ceilings, and that's the challenge of development. That's on the coaches. But I would say this is the highest ceiling class in an overall sense that Oklahoma has signed under Brent Venables.
I can get behind that.
Past My Prime wants to know, how is Bentley's shoulder? As we discussed earlier, he's fine. He's probably going to play. That's the expectation. He's going to play this Friday for Salina in their state semifinal matchup against Alvarado. So he's very, very committed to getting back on the field and finishing out this postseason run with Salina, and he is on track to do that, at least as of now. The Waffler says, not going to lie, When I looked up Matthew Nelson, I expected him to be a blue-collar gym rat type. Why? Because he's from Arkansas?
And maybe because his name is...
And because his name is Matthew. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no.
I mean, as somebody who has a very white name, I can understand that.
That's a 6'5" state champion hurdler in Matthew Nelson, man. And he and Okafaleze and, I would say another guy that's probably in that conversation as well as Jacob Curry. Those are 3 ceiling dudes. You're banking on the ceiling there with guys like that. And those are the types of takes that you can afford to accommodate when you have ready-made instant impact type dudes at that same position in the same class, which OU does at all of those respective positions. All right, folks. We're done here on Locked In for a Thursday. One more show before the weekend, so come back with us tomorrow. The Rush is next with Tyler and Ted. This is The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.